When it comes to the Coda weapons, we have been given a absolute ton of options. Those being from melee weapons to secondaries that are really not that good, looking at the Tysus for one of them, and a lot of primary weapons like the Sporothrix, the Hema, and I swear there's another one, but I could just be losing it. But each one has their own unique gimmick, each one having their own function. When it comes to the Coda Motovore, as you see me using, it's a hammer, obviously, but it has three functions based on the element you mainly went for, that being impact, slash, or puncture. Now, what does that mean? Well, each one of them has their own thing, and each one does their own special function. I believe puncture, if I'm right, is 1.5 meters of range, slash is 100% status chance, and impact was something I just don't remember perfectly. But obviously, I will cover that whenever we get to the actual build of the video. But I wanted to show off some gameplay beforehand, because as you see, this weapon, it's hard. But also, we'll be getting a slam change soon. So what you have to get used to doing now is bullet jumping up and then slamming. You can no longer just do this, where you just roll, slam, roll, slam. You're going to be hitting much less, and a lot less distance will be given to you when doing that. So you have to get used to bullet jumping up and then slamming down. That's why I'm kind of practicing. But we should be seeing a Acolyte very soon. So when the Acolyte spawns, I will show you what it does against them. So I will see y'all when an Acolyte spawns. All right, the Acolyte is finally decided to spawn in. Funnily enough, it was only a few seconds later, which is what's funny. But where is it? There it is. We got Mania. So I'll say that's pretty good. That's really nice. I see it hits really hard, but something I have been pairing with it and a lot of my melee weapons as recently is the the helmet ability from Kullervo, which is Wrathful Advance. So I can get even more crit chance than what I already may have and may have already built onto the weapon. I think it's very nice and very beneficial to a lot of builds, because then you can sacrifice a bit of build crafting for less crit chance because you have a lot of it with just your ability. But you see, weapon it's real hard, weapon it's real nice. Let's go ahead and head to the simulacrum so we can get a feel of how I built said weapon, because as you can tell, I hit really good crits whenever I do crit. You see, look at that. Amazing. So I will see y'all back in the simulacrum. And here we are in the simulacrum. When it comes to the Coda Motovore, I got mine whenever it had a 60% valence bonus, meaning I got electricity on mine, which is quite nice if you want to do an influence build. But as we've covered, if you max out it with Forma, you'll be able to change that with a valence fusion item from Eleanor for 50,000 standing. So when it comes to my build, we're going with a melee dowdy build following its unique trait. Receive 6 times physical damage from mods and a different bonus based on the prevalent physical damage type. Impact will give you 4% attack speed. Puncture has a 1.5 meter range increase, which means I was correct on that one. And Slash has a 100% status chance, so I was right on that one as well. Now you may be looking at my build saying, why do you have Killing Blow? Well, when it came to using this weapon, I realized that its slam attack is phenomenal. It matches that with the slam attack, and then the heavy attack for slam is 1920, and the normal is 1280. So what I'd said is, let's build it into a slam weapon. It can do it, and it's not really that good for influence. So what I did is put Augur Strike on there so it would get a ton of puncture, and then I also put Jugulous Barbs on there for slam attacks, manifest tendrils to lash damage within 3 meters, stunning them for 1 second, and dealing 25 puncture damage. That's not that useful. It was mainly for the puncture and status chance, which made, after applying Augur Strike, us go to about 3.3k puncture. So I also have Galvanized Reflex, so we can always keep our heavy attacks up at a certain percentage, so it's constantly refreshing itself. We have Galvanized Elementalist for more status damage. Since we are dealing electricity, might as well get the bonus out of it, but you can change this to be whatever you prefer. It could be Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, more crit damage, whatever you like. These two are self-explanatory. And then we have both of the sacrificial mods for the increase in crit chance, but also the extra melee damage. Now, real quick, what pets would you like to run with it? It's really dependent on the person. You can run a primer pet like Nautilus or a Hound. You could also run a support pet like a Vizier Predicite or a Panzer Vulpaphyla. Let's go ahead and see in a controlled zone how the weapon works, and then I'll give you my final thoughts when we go back to the back rooms. So here we have some level 195 Skuldra enemies. When it comes to the weapon, once again, remember with the new heavy change coming, we do have to start jumping much higher to get the bonus. But I see it did not kill, but as the puncture procs do keep applying, it eventually does kill them. Once again though, this guy is stupidly tanky, so He's usually resistant to a lot of your attacks, so I usually pull out a different weapon to deal with him. As we see, it does quite well against the Scaldra. But what about other factions like the Murmur, Orican, stuff like that? Well, I've been finding the Murmur occasionally, but I think the weapon works just as good, if not better. I mean, look at that. Amazing. The build works quite well, and as you can see, Melee Dowdy is doing its job, giving us a times 6.6 crit multiplier due to how much puncture we have in our weapon, so it's functioning as intended. I do think the weapon could obviously be a bit better, because at first the weapon was having its own issues with its unique trait, but it eventually got itself solved and fixed. You could easily run Melee Afflictions with this as well, but as I've seen, it doesn't really affect it as well. It's not as potent with it, it seems. But I'll see you back in the back rooms. Real quick before I give you my final thoughts, do make sure you guys remember to hit that like button, do subscribe and turn on that bell for post notifications so as to get notified when I post another video. I do enjoy making these videos and I love seeing the comments y'all make down below. As well, if you guys want to see me go live, every Tuesday I'm roughly live on Twitch where I play Destiny because of that's weekly reset. Now, let's get into my final thoughts on the Coda Motovore. When it comes to the Coda Motovore, it is a weapon that is quite functional. Of all the slaying weapons you can choose from, Coda Motovore is quite nice due to the fact to get a valence bonus. It has its own unique trait and is quite powerful. Things like the what is it? Not Heliocore. The Cyber has its Incarnon, which is very nice. The Cost Assist can also be used for it. The Archititron, but the weapon I think most people should be using for a slam build still should be the Echine. The Echine on heavy attacks performed will increase its damage and attack speed, which makes it quite nice, but obviously, due to the fact that the Coda Motovore does get its valence, it could be better in some cases. But what do I recommend for that? I recommend Puncture and or Slash. Impact really isn't that good for it. And when it comes to the valence bonus, pick whichever one you like. I like Electricity because it gives me some crowd control, something doesn't die, because they're like stunned for a bit. But tell me what weapons you may want to see me review down below. As you saw, I do have the, what is it, Talk and Lug, and I do plan on trying to see if that's worth anything, but more than likely the Spider frame will be out in time for me to review her, and I feel like she's going to be a phenomenal frame to go over. But I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.